in level 1, the part 1, the focus is on the foundation of risk management, okay, quantitative analysis, financial markets and products, okay, and then in the valuation and risk model. So these are the focus area in part 1. Okay, so foundation of risk management carries a weight of 20%, quantitative analysis carries a weight of 20%, markets and products carry a weight of 30%, okay, and valuation and risk model also carries a weight of 30%. So what you have is valuation and markets and products are the important topics in your FRM. Okay, so what we will see is like how these topics are further divided. Okay, now before that, like I would want you to show the pass rates that are there historically, but this is not to scare or something, like this is just we want to get an understanding of how the pass rates have been. So if you see for the part 1, it's 55% in 2009, 2010 it was 52.5, in November 2010 it was 39.3. This was the toughest. Okay, I think, okay, in the GARP site there is an updated one. I had that updated presentation, but I think that is somewhere else. Okay, so this is what you have. Around 50% of the people would be able to clear the examination. You can see on an average. Okay, so what I would want to give you an understanding is the total FRM aim statements we'll see, and we'll see that how that aim statement you need to cover. Okay, so these are the part 1 aim statement. I know that this is available freely on the GARP site, so if you do not have, it's required that you download it and see the structure of this course. Okay. So what we have is the readings for the foundation of risk management. You'll find that there have been lots of changes in the 2013 curriculum as compared to 2012 in the foundation of risk management. So there is a new reading that has been introduced. Okay, the new reading is risk taking, a corporate governance perspective. Okay, so this is available in the GARP library. You can download it. Okay, so this is like what companies like corporate governance initiatives are very important to ensure that how the enterprise risk management is offered or is implemented. So risk government, we will talk about the risk governance over here. Okay, this is a very theoretical concept. Okay, now what we have is the reading number 2. It focuses on modern portfolio theory. Okay, so the chapter 5 will cover the concept of efficient market, efficient frontier. So we'll understand what are efficient frontier, what is efficient frontier, how efficient portfolios are plotted in the efficient frontier. So here we are actually covering the Markovitch portfolio theory, which is your modern portfolio theory. Okay, so this is a very basic understanding, but nevertheless, like this is required in the examination. You'll find that most of the problems from the foundation would be coming from these 2 and 3 topics. Okay, then you have chapter number 13 is the standard capital asset pricing model. So what we have is the Markovitch portfolio theory. You will get capital market line. From the capital market line, we need to derive something known as security market line, which is the basis of the standard capital asset pricing model. So we need to understand what is this. And then this standard capital asset pricing model has a lot of assumptions. We'll see that what if we break those assumptions, how the capital asset pricing model may look like, how the security market look like. So we have the chapter number 14 devoted to non-standard form of the capital asset pricing model. Okay, one good thing that GARP has done is they have removed the arbitrage portfolio theory, which was there earlier, but now it is not there. We don't have to worry about it. Okay, then the reading number 3 is dedicated to understanding how CAPM can be applied to the performance measurement. So we have chapter number 4. We are only dealing with section 4.2 there. We do not have to read entire chapter 4. There we'll understand the CAPM application to the performance measurement. So we'll learn about the various ratios like Sharpe ratio, Tanner ratio, Shortino ratio. All those things we'll understand in this chapter number 3. Okay. Then this reading number 3. Sorry. Then reading number 4 you have dedicated to the risk and data quality. So this is a new reading that has come. Okay. So what we have is it is information risk and data quality management. So what are the risks that is involved in the information transfer, how data quality should be handled adequately. This is a new reading. So one of the thing is like whenever any new topic is introduced, okay, lots of questions come from those new readings. So please do not ignore any new readings that come. Okay. Then reading number 5 is dedicated to financial disaster. This has been in the GARP syllabus for a long time, and this is quite interesting. We'll understand about, okay, what are the problems that have been seen in the past in certain companies, and some of the companies have gone bankrupt, some of the companies have seen severe losses. So we'll need to understand how the risk management was applied. Okay, mostly it was applied improperly, that is why financial disaster happened, and what is the learning that we have from there. Okay, this is what is covered here, financial disaster. Then reading number 6, a very important reading. It is actually very much linked to the financial disaster topic. So here what we have is a paper from Rene Stulge, which is who is like overseeing the GARP committee. So he is saying he has a paper on the risk management failure. So we'll see that what are the risk management failures or these disasters, what are they, and when they happen. So is there any linkages across the various risk management failures we have seen? Okay, what are the common traits in this? Okay, so that is a very important reading. Okay, then reading number 7 is GARP code of conduct. Usually you get around 1 to 2 questions in the examination related to this code of conduct. Ensure that you are well prepared to handle this code of conduct questions. These are like ethical standard questions basically. Okay, so what you have is after each, so this is like an overview of the reading. So you'll find that in these readings they have given in detail about what is expected from the student. So these are actually your aim statements. So once you have gone through this particular chapter, what you should be able to do, so what they're saying is candidates after completing this reading should be able to define risk. What are the various risk classification? What is the role that is played by the risk in the value creation? Okay, so this is like what is your aim statement. So our study material is created as per this aim statement. So what we have done, what we'll do is like we have gone through the study material, and we'll try to extract the study material and put it as per these aim statements. Okay, so they define a risk profile, how one is created. So you should be able to read these study materials first and then go through the GARP assigned readings and see whether your understanding is complete or not. Okay, if you have any question in between, you can feel free to raise your hands. Okay, and I will give you mic and you can ask question. Similarly, like you have all these aim statements. So this is what I would say is, if you ask me which are the topics that are important in this aim statement, I would say that this is the foundation, this is important. Okay, then these 3 readings, this one, okay, this one, and this. So maybe information risk and data quality, it's like theoretical, but only issue here is like this is a new reading, so we do not know what is the focus here. So typically they will ask a lot of questions from the new readings. Okay, but seeing the aim statement, if you see the aim statement of that is not given also. Yeah, aim statement, if it's there, it's not much actually. If you see, not much. Okay, so if you want to focus, you should focus on those readings. Okay, then you have one of the other topic areas is quantitative analysis. Okay, now in GARP, please note that the expectation is not that we should become quant. Okay, we should become a quantitative trader like that, but the expectation is that we should be able to learn about, understand the basic models, basic things, so which will help us in understanding the risk models. Okay, so the readings that are here, reading number 8, this is a new introduction in your FRM part 1 syllabus. Okay, and in fact this is a very welcome move, because earlier readings they were not able to properly capture these various things like probabilities, statistics, distribution, and hypothesis testing. So this is a very good thing, and it forms the basics of your quantitative what I would do request you is like try to build a very good concept in this, because if you do not build a concept, let's say in probability, statistics, distribution and testing, it would be disaster when you go into the chapters 5, 7 and other further chapters which you have in value at risk, etc. Okay, so here like you need to understand what are the basics of probability. You have to understand about the Bayes theorem, okay, understand the application of the probability in solving the problems. Okay, basic statistics we understand about the mean, median, mode, etc. In distribution we know about in detail about the two distribution, normal and t. But yes, there are other distribution like Kai's distribution, F distribution that we use in hypothesis testing. That also we need to know. We need to know about the Poisson distribution, binomial distribution. We'll see a list of the distribution that we need to go through. Okay, my advice is try to understand the uses of this distribution. Okay, then you have reading number 9 dedicated to regression, but this is a simple linear regression and it's only with one regression. Okay, that is, there is only one independent variable. If you read this reading properly, you would not have any problem in reading chapter number 6, which is just an extension of from 1 to multiple. Yes, when you are bringing from 1 to multiple, there are some additional issues to consider, but there is the foundation is built over here. There is no drastic change. Okay, now this chapter of hypothesis testing will help you a lot in covering this chapter. Okay, so that is regression with a single regressor and hypothesis testing and confidence interval. So it builds upon whatever you have learned. It is like trying to apply this hypothesis testing concept. Okay, then you have Monte Carlo methods. Then you have linear regression with multiple regression. As I said that here you will have more than one independent variable. Okay, and again hypothesis testing of that. So if you are clear in this, there will be no problem in chapter 5 and 7. Okay, if you are clear in this, there will be no problem here. And this clarity will only come when you are clear in basic statistics and distribution. So you will see that 8 and 9 are very tightly coupled and you have to become master in this. You cannot ignore these two readings. Okay, then you have reading number 10, Monte Carlo methods. So here like basically we need to understand about the Monte Carlo methods application basically. Okay, just 1 second. Yeah, so what we have is if you see this Monte Carlo methods, it is trying to see the application. Please note that we do not have to actually generate any Monte Carlo simulation in Excel sheet. We need to understand about what is the basic concept of Monte Carlo, why it is done, okay, what are the problems with this, okay, advantages of this. Those are the things that we are covering. Okay, so and also like how you can speed up the Monte Carlo method. So there are certain things that you need to know. This is from a one chapter by Philip Jorian, Value at Risk. Okay, then you have John C. Hull book, which is like widely used in your FRM syllabus. This is like first time it is being used in quant. So in this case we'll be understanding about what are volatilities and correlation and how do we estimate. Okay, so what I say is this is a slightly advanced topic. You can, let's say, reading number 9 and reading number 10 and reading 11, you can leave it for a later part. Try to build the concepts in reading number 8 and 9 first, and this should be done later. Okay, so again like here the aim statements are given, describe the concept of probability, distinguish between the random variables. So you should be able to, when you are reading it, I would say that see that once you have read whether you are able to answer these questions or not. This aim you are able to answer. Again our course are created as per this aim, so it should not be a problem to you. So in the case of distribution, we have to understand about Bernoulli, binomial, Poisson. Okay, then you have to understand normal distribution, log normal, and they are saying that identify common occurrence of each distribution wherein they are occurring. Okay, we have to also understand about parametric and non-parametric distribution. Okay, Then we have to know about chi-square, student T, and F distribution. Here, like, you will find that these are very much useful in your hypothesis testing. So hypothesis testing you are covering. We'll see that what are the basic hypothesis testing is covered. Don't worry about that much as of now. Okay, using the notes you'll be able to understand. Okay, feel free to ask in any of this question. What I will say is you can go light on this chapter 12 and chapter 22. However, we'll see that in chapter 22 there are certain standard questions that the GARP ask. There are standard questions related to GARCH. So they will give you a equation and they will ask you certain questions which are testing whether you know those concepts or not. Okay, so those are the useful things that you should know. So a very good thing would be to in whichever question chapter you are going light, just try to see the past papers and the past sample papers, okay, and try to solve the questions there in that past sample papers. The next is the financial markets and products, and that's weight is 30%. A very good understanding is required in markets and products because in valuation and risk model you will use these markets and products only. Okay, so if you see, this is referring the John C. Hull book, okay, options, futures and other derivatives. Okay, the chapter 1 and 2 are very basic. They are trying to give you an introduction about what are the derivatives market, how the futures market work. However, from chapter 3 the scores become slightly tougher. So chapter 1 and 2 these are light, but from chapter number 3 it is expected that you know about these applications of this concept. So here hedging strategies using futures. So they are asking that how you would use futures to hedge. Okay, then interest rate, you need to know about the interest rate. Okay, so here you will understand about the forward rates and other things. One of the problem that we see in the GARP syllabus is some of the things they are covering here because they are referring to different books. So you will find overlap of the things that you cover here with some other chapters. Okay, aim statements to an extent try to differentiate it, but still when you are reading the chapter it creates confusion in the mind of the readers. Okay, so try to focus whatever the aim statements are covering in this. There will be overlap with the fixed income section, which we'll see in the valuation and risk model. But here we'll introduce you to the entire basics of the interest rate, and in fixed income section we'll just refer to the concept that we learn over here. Okay, then chapter number 5 you will learn to know about how these forwards and future prices are computed. Okay, what is the basis in which you will compute these forwards and future prices. Okay, chapter number 6 is about the interest rate futures. Okay, so what is the interest rate future? Okay, so interest rate future you will not be able to understand if you have not followed this properly. Okay, one more problem happens in case of chapter 6 is they try to use a lot of bond terminologies, okay, which as of now it has not been introduced. So what we request the students is to go through the fixed income topic before they go through this interest rate future. So we cover the fixed income topic, what are the bonds and the details in chapter number 4 only. Okay, then chapter number 7 is devoted to swap. So here the basic focus is on interest rate swap and the currency swap. So you should be able to find out the value of these swaps also. That is what expectation is. Okay, then you have chapter number 10 devoted to properties of stock options. So what are stock options, how the stock options prices change when the stock prices changes, what are the payoffs, etc. What is the relationship of stock options with respect to the interest rate, stock price, exercise price, volatility. That understanding you will get over here, but here we are not valuing this. Okay, chapter number 11 is dedicated to strategies on the option. So how you can combine one call and one put, or two calls, two puts, or call with stock, and you can do a trading. So here the idea is to find out how much profit you will get. Here you need to also understand the payoff diagrams. You need to understand about how those diagrams are created, and lastly you need to compute the profit or loss in strategies. Okay, and one more thing that you need to know is when to apply X strategy, when to apply Y strategy. So you need to know the benefit and losses of strategies. So these are, so what I'll say is this 3 to 11 chapters, these are very, very important chapters for you. Okay, then we will so what happens is the Hull book is not that strong in commodities. Okay, so what we have is we have another book which we are referring for the commodities. This is Robert McDonald book, Derivatives Market, Commodity Forwards and Futures. So chapter number 6, Commodity Forward and Futures. So we'll understand about the forward and future with respect to the commodity. Here the forwards and futures were with respect to the stocks. So there are slight differences between the forward and future in the commodity market and in the stock market. Okay. Then you have in chapter reading number 14, we understand about the fundamentals of spot and futures market. Again, you will find that there is some overlap in these two readings because you have taken from different book. So the aim statement, again, they are trying to remove this discrepancy. Okay. Now there is a chapter reading number 15. So what happened was this reading number 15 earlier was a part of valuation and risk model. This time they have introduced in foundation in markets and products. So here we try to understand about the risk that are present in the foreign exchange market. So when companies, banks, they loan internationally, let's say one US bank has done some loan in Canada, what are the risks that the firm faces? So we need to understand about this foreign exchange risk and how the banks can mitigate these risks. So whatever the forwards futures you have learnt over here, how the bank can apply that forward and futures over here. Okay. Then here they are introducing the bonds, that is the corporate bonds. So here we have, like, we learn about two type of bonds, corporate bond and the treasury bonds. So these markets and products give an understanding about the corporate bond. Ideally we should cover this as the very first, before market and product we should cover this corporate bonds. Okay. Then reading number 17 is devoted to the rating agencies. So we'll understand about what are the rating agencies, the characteristics of that, the rating process. Okay, what are the complexity involved? Okay, what are the different approaches of doing the rating? All of this would be dealt here. Okay, so these are the various chapters. So if you see 3 to 5, 4, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, you have to go through 14 chapters of study over here. Okay, in quant it was only 10 chapters that you are studying. However, if you want to understand that which are the topics which are very, very important, I will say that this reading number 3 to reading number 11 is the important stuff. Okay, here if you see, this fundamentals is important. Okay, because commodity forwards and futures, whatever you learn here and here, you will find that is what is mostly used. Okay, then this foreign exchange risk, you get typically one question. However, understanding of corporate bond is important for other things. Okay, many times, like some of the 1 or 2 questions can come over here. Okay, rating agencies, it comes a theoretical question on the advantages, disadvantages of the different type of rating methodology. So you need to know those also. Okay, however, important wise 3 to 11, and this is what I would consider as the most important thing that you have to pay attention. Okay, so these are the aim statements. So you need to go through these aim statements to understand about this entire that learning that you have to do. But please note that these are some of the chapters. There are more requirement of your understanding because that chapter may be complex. Some chapters you are not expected to learn a lot also. Okay. However, if you see here interest rate, they have referred bond. Okay, again, but the bond is covered later. So we have devised a certain set of reading approach, which sequence should be done. We'll share that with you. We'll give that to you. Then you have the valuation and risk model. Here like the valuation is focused around the bond valuation and the derivatives valuation. So let us see in this first reading 18 is what is volatility, okay, and how you include the volatility in VAR models, okay, and what is value at risk and how you apply the value at risk in the risk decision making. Okay, even though this is a reading number 18, what I would say is this should be covered after you have covered the other readings, okay, but this reading should be covered along with the last two readings in the quant, that is the quantifying volatility, quantifying volatility, it was that Garch Arch reading, it was estimating volatility and correlation. So estimating volatility and correlation and Monte Carlo methods, because these are whatever learning you get over here, this would be used in your these two readings. But what I would say is before reading this, you should first give preference to this reading number 19 and 20. Reading number 19 is understanding about the binomial trees. What are binomial trees and how these binomial trees can be used for valuation of American and European options. In fact, since you have to do the valuation in examination, what I would say is like you get minimum of 2 questions from the binomial trees reading. Okay, so here you need to be a lot application oriented. You will be required to solve the problems which are not simple problems. It requires a lot of multiple steps and computation using the calculator. So you should be very conversant with solving a series of calculations. Okay, then you have the Black-Scholes-Merton model. This is to value the options again, but this is an extension of the binomial tree. Okay, here we have a Black-Scholes formula. Okay, now in the book they have not mentioned that whether the formula would be given to you in the examination or not. Okay, typically it is not given, so you have to sometimes like they give a certain portion of the formula which is more complex, so you need to apply that. So but the basic, the Black-Scholes formula you have to remember. Okay, then in the options you have the Greek letters. Okay, so what are the option Greeks? Option Greeks, like with the option price will change depending on the changes in the stock price, interest rate, etc. So you need to have a very good understanding about these Greeks. Also you need to have a good understanding about how do you use these Greeks when you are hedging. What is the application of Greeks in the hedging? I would say that these three are important. Maybe like these three entirely will bring around 6 to 7 questions in the examination. Okay, then reading number 20 is referring to the fixed income security. Here the focus is on the treasury, US treasury security, not the corporate US treasury bonds, not the corporate bond, and they have referred Bruce Tuckman reading for this. Okay, now one thing, note that reading number chapter number 1, 2, 3, 4 were in the last year. Okay, this year they have included 2 new readings, chapter number 5 and chapter number 6. In fact, the chapter number 5 and 6 they were earlier in level 2, so they have brought in level 1, so you can expect to get questions from this chapter number 5 and 6. Okay, so here what you will find is the price, discount factors and other things we will learn along with when we are doing the John C. Hull interest rate chapter. Okay, so this will be this should be read that time along with spot rate, forward rate, par rate, that this should be dealt that time. Okay, return spreads and yield also should be read that time. Okay, after that you can devote chapter 4 and 5, 6 separate reading. So what we learn over here is how are the bond prices, what are the discount factors or the present value factors, how you can earn arbitrage in bond. Okay, what is a spot rate, what is a forward rate, what is a par yield curve. Okay, what are the various returns that you get, what are the spreads, what are the different yields you have. Okay, and in case of bonds, what happens is bond prices are related to the interest rate. Okay, so we have one factor risk matrix and how we can use that one factor risk matrix to hedge. Like example are duration and convexity. Then you have chapter 5, what are the multi-factor risk matrix. So you have like duration can be applied for a portfolio, how that can happen. Okay, what are the approaches to the risk metrics and hedging? These are the new chapters that are coming, that have come. Okay, now you'll find that in valuation and risk model there are lot of stuff. So these 6 plus 3 9 plus 2 11 chapters are already there. Okay, however, you need to see where the focus should be done. As I said, that 19 and 20 should be your focus area. Okay, then you have reading number 21. You find that country risk model. This is a very theoretical reading. Here you try to understand what are the risk model you should adopt when you are trying to value a security in any country. So this is a theoretical reading. I am saying that should try to this you can go light. Okay, then you have external and internal rating. These readings should be learnt along with the credit rating that you saw in the markets and products. Okay, so that is how the ratings are being given. What is external rating, what is internal rating? These are typically used by the banks. Okay, then reading number 23, it includes two chapters, chapter 4 and 5. What is a loan portfolio? So you need to understand about the loan portfolio, the advantages, disadvantages of loan portfolio, how you compute the loss in a loan portfolio, that is known as expected loss. What are unexpected loss? What happens is in the examination you get one question on expected loss, you get one question on unexpected loss, one question you can get on advantages, disadvantage. So this makes this a important reading. Okay, then 24, again it's like a theoretical reading. However, it is kind of summarizing whatever you have learned in the value at risk, and here we need to understand about why value at risk is not a good measure, what are other better measure than as compared to value at risk. Okay, theoretical reading, I would say. Not even though like the one of the aim statement says that you need to compute certain expected loss. Okay, or conditional where typically they do not ask question on that. Okay, then you have the operational risk. Okay, so you understand about the operational risk, what are the various things, how it can be hedged, what are the methodology by which it can be measured. So entire theoretical stuff you learn here. Then you have stress testing. So stress testing is also important one, because whatever the models you have chosen, you need to ensure that it has undergone stress test, and then only you can use it. Okay, and these two readings should be read together, because the Basel committee has come up with some principles for the stress testing. What happened is, whenever stress testing is done, if the methodology is wrong, you will pass a stress test. Okay, however, it may happen that the model is not correct. So you need to understand about what are the things which will make a good stress testing. Okay, so these are the things. So if you see overall, what I will say is the valuation and risk model is one particular section which has a lot of theoretical stuff, and note that you will be able to do well in those problems which requires computation. However, these readings which are theoretical readings, it will take a heavy toll on you. Okay, so I would give you the notes of this, but my expectation is the notes should create some basic understanding, but to get a very good understanding you need to refer to the core reading material. Okay, so that will help you in getting more and more concept of this, so that you will be able to tackle the questions in the examination which in theoretical cases they are trying to twist. Okay, so overall, if you want to understand where the focus should be, I will say your focus should be on valuation and risk model, markets. Priority wise, if you see, markets and products will be number 1, valuation and risk model will be number 2, quant will be number 3, and foundation number 4, because quant is having lower weight. Okay, and your foundation, it is having 20% weight, but it is easy. Okay, so even if you devote lesser time, you will be able to score well in the foundation. Okay, now I will send you like some details about what are the like theoretical topics, whether you should, but I have discussed with you like where you should put effort in when you are studying. Okay, And before start studying, go through the aim statements, and see that what aim statement is asking you to do, because that will give you a understanding of the expectation.